Welcome back, boys, to the fifth installment of the Robinhood $500 challenge, where we try to grow $500 in a Robinhood account as much as possible. If you're new here, click the link up in the corner, and it'll take you to the playlist of this series, so you can start from the beginning and catch yourself up if you'd like to. Over the last week, doing all right, up 1.16%, with myself pulling me down a little bit at the end with a flop of a day trade. Still, over the last month, I'm up 12.44%, which I'm very happy with. And I have an average monthly return of 11% since I started this thing a couple months ago. So let's take a look at how my current positions are doing and what my most recent trades were. So usually I do a bit of a fancy edit here, but I'm on a bit of a time crunch, so I'm just going to talk you through it. My long-term holds are Activision, Facebook, Nvidia, Waste Management, and YOLO. Activision, sorry that last one gets me. It's a cannabis ETF, the YOLO one. It makes me laugh every time. Total return for Activision is $7.60. Facebook up 28.78, which is 17%, which is pretty good. Nvidia, I think we're down a little bit. No, we're up $1.06 this last week. Nvidia took a bit of a dip, so I paid the price for that. Waste Management, I'm up $6.38. YOLO, oh my god, I kind of feel up 9 cents. Dude, it gets me, dude. And my swing trades, they're all just down a few quarters or something like that. Nothing crazy, but they're all down a little bit. Okay, back to you, Adam. So let's talk about where I went wrong this last week. And this is particularly on a day trade I did on Friday, which is on the S&P 500 ETF, SPY. Let me show you what happened. So I was looking at this, it was obviously in a downtrend, right? And it bounced up, got rejected by the 9 EMA, this blue line here. And once I saw it got rejected with that red candle, I bought some puts. And for a brief, very blissful second, I had made some money. And then quickly it turned around and busted back above the 9 EMA. And at that point, I closed my position. I usually close my position when it busts the opposite direction past the 9 EMA. So let me explain why this didn't work out and how I basically goofed. I did 3 things wrong. 1, I didn't give myself very much margin of profit. See these dotted lines here, above and below? Those are 2 standard deviations above and below the VWAP, or VWAP, however you want to say it, the white line there. What that means in English is that if price action will only spend about a third of the time outside of those dotted lines. So if you see price action get above and below those dotted lines, it's safe to assume, relatively reasonable to assume, that the price is overextended and that it will correct back in between those dotted lines. So if past these dotted lines is considered an overextension, I bought puts really close to an overextension. I bought them right there, and I did not give myself very much room. I gave myself 0.04%. And you can see that it actually did, it's been like just a blip of time past the dotted line, and then it corrected all the way back up here. So I gave myself not much margin of profit there. The second mistake I did was I made a play solely based off of the 9 EMA. And so, in other words, I only waited for a rejection off the 9 EMA. I need to be playing both the 9 EMA and the VWAP. So what I should be looking for is a rejection like this, a rejection off the VWAP, and then it busts through and closes past, well past the 9 EMA. That would be a good trade to buy puts on, and if it didn't go my way, it wouldn't really, in my opinion, be all my fault. So instead of just using the 9 EMA, I need it to both get rejected by the VWAP and pass through the 9 EMA as well, in order for me to buy puts like a sane human being. All right, so let's take a look at USO, which was a swing trade I got stopped out of. So I made some decent money on this one. Initially saw a inverse head and shoulders pattern, bought into it on the break of the neckline, and I've been moving my stop loss just below support as it continued to move up. And I had set my stop loss just below this support here when Trump decided to open his mouth about oil prices and complain about them being too high, and that caused USO to drop down because this is the United States Oil Fund. It tries to track the price of sweet crude oil. So I got stopped out of that one, which is fine. It's going to happen eventually, and I made some money off of it, so that's good. So Gurn is continuing in this channel here. They do have earnings that's going to be released on the 9th of May. So all the money that I'm going to be making off of Gurn needs to happen before the 9th, because I consider a release of earnings basically a bet if you're doing swing trading. And I don't want to bet, I don't want to gamble completely. So I want to be reasonable about how I'm trading. I'm not just placing bets on binary events. Although you guys are welcome to if you want to, although I think you know it's not my favorite thing to do. So anyway, the money we're going to make is going to be between now and then, and you can see that it's in a pretty decent channel here. So it's got a good margin of profit of about, well, really you know, it could be upwards of 20%, so that's good. I only have a very small position in that, so we're just gonna keep holding that for now and see how it goes. I might build into it a little bit as it moves upward, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. I bought into a cannabis ETF with the ticker YOLO, mostly because, like, how could you not? So I got 1 share of that. So we're still hanging on in AMC. You can see my stop loss is at 14.35. It's in a pretty decent uptrend. I didn't buy it a very good time. I bought kind of high, so I'm riding this dip out. But I continue to expect it to move in the upwards direction. So I'm going to hang on to that one for a bit. And you can see I set my notification above the 200-day moving average. If it busts to that level, I'm going to buy some more shares because I like to average into positions as they continue to prove me right. I also bought some shares of BLNK based on this ascending triangle pattern. And what that pattern is there's a top level of resistance that is horizontal and a lower level of diagonal support levels. This pattern was also combined with what is called a head fake, or where you see a breakout and it looks like a totally good trade, but then all of a sudden things turn around and go the opposite direction. So right here, it breaks out of this ascending triangle pattern and actually would be a good position to go short or buy puts on, but then it just totally psychs you out. It's a head fake, right? From like basketball, you're doing a head fake, you head fake one direction and go the other. So that's what you see here. So probably kind of got some short sellers kind of poopy. And you can see that it's busted above these levels of resistance, but only slightly. I think I bought into this a little premature because I bought towards the top of this green candle here. I was a little bit excited, traded a little bit with emotions there, but I have a reasonable stop loss, so I'm going to leave it as is, and we'll see how it goes. With this kind of position, you want to put the stop loss a little bit below the resistance levels here that have now become support. So I put my stop loss at 315 there. You can also see down here, I don't talk about it a whole lot because I like price action and patterns a lot more. But you can see down here in this technical indicator called the MACD, you can see that it's just starting to open up to the green side, which is a technical indication that this price could start moving in the upwards direction. Okay, pretty standard stuff so far. I got one more thing I want to talk to you guys about, and that's placing bets on earnings. And I'm not about to like slap your wrist or something. I mean, you guys probably already know that I'm not a big fan of placing bets like that. But if you are going to do it, I know a lot of you guys are, I want to help you place bets a little bit smarter. So most of you are trading options when you're placing these kind of trades on earnings. And you'll hear people say that they think that this company is going to have a huge move. The stock price is going to have a huge move after their earnings report and call. But they're not using math to actually prove that. And you can use math. You can tell how much people expect the stock price to move based on implied volatility, because options prices will be inflated a certain amount based on how much people think the stock price is going to move. And you can extract that expectation out of implied volatility using very simple math to show you how much the stock price is likely to move after earnings. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the Tastyworks brokerage platform. It's an online platform. I highly recommend, if you trade options regularly, or if you're going to be trading options regularly, to start an account with Tastyworks. They just have a really great tools to see what your trades could look like. On Robinhood, it's kind of hard to like keep it all in your head. They've splayed it all out for you, and I'll show you here how that's exactly done. Okay, so AMD has earnings on the 30th, so like just a couple days. So to figure out how much we can expect the stock price to move based on earnings, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna type in AMD in the top left corner, right? That's gonna bring up that stock. You're gonna click strategies right here. Now we're gonna take a look at how much a straddle is going to cost. It's an option strategy. If you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know what a straddle is. But what we're gonna do is you're gonna click on straddle. You're gonna do long straddle. So when you're calculating this, you want to choose a straddle whose expiration is as close to the binary event as possible. So the closest we can do, and you can click this minus sign right here to bring the expiration closer to you. The closest we can do is May 3rd, so we're going to call that good. Now we look at what the debit is. That's 3.22, okay? So here's what we're going to do to calculate how much we expect AMD's stock price to move. We're going to take the total cost of this straddle, which is $322, because the cost of an options trade is multiplied by 100. So 3.22 times 100 is $322. And then we're going to divide it by the stock price, which is 27.88. And we're going to multiply that by 100, okay? And this will get us, I'll put it in a new tab. This will get us our expected move on their earnings call. So there's an expected move of 11.5%. So that's massive. So there's if you're gonna make a bet, do a bet on something that's gonna move big. Because if you take a bet, whether a call or a put, on something that doesn't move that much, implied volatility collapses right after earnings. So if it doesn't move enough to counteract the loss of premium due to the collapse of implied volatility, then you're going to lose all your money essentially, even if it moves in your favor, but just not enough. So in no way am I condoning that you place bets on earnings, but if you're going to be a degenerate, at least be a smart degenerate. Hey, if you learned a thing or two, consider subscribing. Smack a thumbs up for me. It means a lot to me. I post videos like this usually once a week. Thanks for watching.